no matter what you're asking, and now there's even financial questions. What is a 401k? What does it mean to retire? What is financial freedom? All of these questions are now being answered by what we would call creators on LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as TikTok. Social media, the thing that most of us love to hate, but let's admit it, we all use it. Welcome to this episode of the New School podcast, all about social media and how to rock it with sanity and, dare I say, ease. This is not an episode about keeping up with the trends or giving a 411 on how to make a million 60-second videos. This is about understanding why you need to be on social media. Often misunderstood, you'll hopefully come away with a different perspective and a roadmap for implementation. So who is this episode relevant to? It's relevant to you if you're an advisory firm and you're sub 500 million in AUM all the way up to mega RIAs, because that is the makeup of our client. So we use the same frameworks, the same expertise, no matter what size of firm you are. So in this episode, I'll cover why social media and what social media actually is these days. I'll answer the question, okay, what platform should I be on? And I'll also cover what is the role of social media in your marketing mix? What ROI should you be expecting? And then lastly, I'll give you a quick synopsis on really how to rock it with, what did I say? Sanity and ease. All right. So let's get started. So why social media? So think about the context of social media. The landscape has changed dramatically. So today's platforms are digital communities, so places where you connect with your friends, families, new people, but they're also marketplaces. Isn't it where I'm on TikTok and Instagram, you get served these ads and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to buy this thing, or you see someone using it like an influencer, or you're actually seeing pictures of a restaurant that your friend went to. And so we're going to our social media platforms not only to connect with people, but also it's the new marketplace. It's been for quite some time. It's also a place where we're beginning to search for answers to our questions. So instead of going to Google, we're going to Instagram specifically, or we're going to TikTok, and we're searching for cool restaurants in New Orleans, or we're asking questions like, what does it mean to have adrenal fatigue, or what is burnout and how to overcome it? No matter what you're asking, and now there's even financial questions. What is a 401k? What does it mean to retire? What is financial freedom? All of these questions are now being answered by what we would call creators on LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as TikTok. You could say Facebook's in there, but Facebook serves a different purpose or niche, and so does X. Okay, so how does this relate to your business? So we have to think about the consumer's buying journey. And if you don't really understand this, go back to episode 1, because I lay it all out there. And each episode in this season is layered on top of each other. So they kind of like all stack up with more and more knowledge to hopefully help you accelerate organic growth in your business. So social media, a prospect meets you in person. They see you speak at an event, or maybe even one of their family members refers you as a professional. What do? All of us naturally, we go online to validate that person or that business, right? So we check out their website, we check out their content, we check out their social media. So your social media, even if a lead doesn't come in through social media, it's a prospect validation point. Another thing to think about for social media is it's a client communication touch point. Your clients are on social media, whether that be LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever else, they are on social media. So if they see posts from you, that is an additional touch point. So client communications aren't just about email. We've got a full episode on how to rock your client communications to drive value and referrals. So you can check that out. But it's a prospect validation point. It's a client communication touch point. It's also a COI touch point. So if you're connecting to all of your COIs in a modern way, you can check out that episode with Bev Flaxington, and they're in your network, you show up in their feed, you're letting your digital do the work for you in between those in-person or one-to-one touch points. So social media is a validation point, it's a touch point, it's a place to share your content, your humanness, and interact in a way where you can build influence. I think something else to think about is if you're connected to let's just say LinkedIn, you're connected to all your existing clients where appropriate on LinkedIn, as well as your COIs, and you're posting consistently and high value, you actually have indirect access to your clients' digital networks and your COIs digital networks. And who are those people? In the case of your clients, usually more people like them, i.e. your prospects, and your COIs, probably their clients or other COIs, so people that could potentially drive business. And so we're not on social media in a weird salesy way. We're there to connect, we're there to engage, we're there to share high value content, knowing that these are digital communities where we can have touch points to add value, where someone can see what we're doing and potentially reach out and want to engage. So what we see across the board is when firms are engaged in social media in a really meaningful way, their DMs fill up. And not with those weird, like people selling things, but for clients or prospects or COI saying, love the content, or I have someone to introduce you to, or, hey, I've been thinking about you and meaning to come in, and then I saw your post. Can we set up some time, right? It's important that you're showing up in the places where your best clients are, your COIs are, and that you have a presence for people to validate you, your prospects, and hopefully that presence in the place where your prospects would hang out. So if you're wondering, okay, now what platform should I be on? That's the second part of this conversation. So we just talked about why social media, and it's essentially because prospects need to validate you. Your clients are there, your COIs are there, and it's a marketplace where we're all interacting with. Like all of us are on social media to some degree or another. And you might be thinking, well, I have high net worth clients, they're not on social media. I promise you that they are. Ask them about it, okay? Even the ultra high net worth people use the internet, okay? So then the second question we always get asked is like, what platform should you be on? So now you're like, okay, I'm convinced I'm going to be on social media. What platform should I be on? Super easy answer. Where are your best clients? Okay, you should be there. Wherever your best clients are, you should be there. So remember, we define your best clients as your top 10% of clients. So if you segmented your existing client base, the ones that value what you do, you find fulfilling to work with. And if you clone them so that all your future clients look like them, you'd have a wildly profitable and viable business. So where are these people hanging out? Which social media platform are they on? How do you find out? It's simple. You just ask them. So we always recommend this in our client experience is your top 10% of clients. You want to understand, like, how are they consuming content and what social media platforms are they on, right? So if all your clients are on LinkedIn, you need to be on LinkedIn. If all of a sudden you discover that all of your clients were on X or Twitter, you should be there. Although I find like most clients are not these days unless they're entrepreneurs. So wherever your best clients are where you should be. And you don't need to be on all the platforms. You don't need to be keeping up with the trends. You just need to be where your best clients are sharing high value content, okay? And if they're on 3 platforms, choose the one that seems that you understand the best, right? Because then you can be strong and powerful there. So when we're wondering and thinking about the different platforms, what are they for? So this is the way I like to think about it. Each digital community or platform essentially serves a different purpose. We all know LinkedIn is kind of like a business bulletin board where we're really assessing someone's credibility, where they've worked. We want to see their headshot. We want to see if they've been in any publications. We also want to see the content that they've shared, but it kind of just moves like a bulletin board. X, previously Twitter, typically inhabited by entrepreneurs, quick, pithy, fast moving, usually less of a trend for your end clients unless they are like tech entrepreneurs and they're very engaged there. Instagram, so that's like they're looking for like-minded people. So it's like entrepreneurs, business type people, like that type of thing. Instagram and Facebook, primarily digital communities for friends and family, also resources, but the algorithm there is really pushing your posts out to people that are in your close circle. So you don't usually get as much reach. In other words, you don't get in front of as many people that are different from you as you would potentially like. And then TikTok is a platform where it's all about connecting people with similar passions and interests. So you get served people's content and feed with a similar interest that you've somehow told the algorithm by the things that you like or don't like. And it's less likely that it's friends or family or people in your immediate work circle. So that's just kind of like the high level way of like thinking about it. Notice I haven't included YouTube there. I kind of think about YouTube is social media, but it's more like a library of content that you can access. I think like YouTube is almost like the modern library in how I think about things. Okay. So for social media, we've covered why social media. And so if you're thinking to yourself, listen, Candace, like, I don't think I need to be on social media. And I'd be like, okay, that's cool. Are your clients not on social media? Then maybe you don't. Or maybe you hate it and you're decided you don't need to be on social media. I'm not here to convince you. I think that you have to make that discernment and decision for yourself. But when you're thinking about a digital first marketing strategy or showing up in a way where modern consumers can validate you, they can build trust online and then reach out to you, and you want to build your business that way, social media is a meaningful part of that. Which leads us to answering kind of like the third question here, which is, what is the role of social media in your marketing mix and what ROI should it drive? So what we often see at industry events, especially M&A hosted events around ROI, is they'll have this big chart up and they'll say like referrals generated X amount of AUM in general or new clients, COIs generated this amount, websites did this, social media did 2%. And it's usually some like super low number. And the inference is that social media doesn't drive leads. And so I think the important thing to understand is where social media fits into the marketing mix. Social media alone, you shouldn't put all the burden of driving leads onto social media. Social media, as we started at the top, why social media is one touch point in a prospect's validation journey. So they might discover you on social media, but typically, if that's the case, they're going to follow you for quite some time. So that's like the trust building. They're going to consume your content. Maybe they'll come to a webinar. Maybe they'll see you in person. Maybe 3 years later, they'll engage with you. Social media is one touch point in the prospect journey. It's also a touch point in the client experience and journey, but by itself, you shouldn't be expecting it to drive lead flow by itself. It's about being part of a community, part of a circle, and social media is one touch point in that circle. I think also another thing to think about is I hear people say like, we need a social media strategy. And our perspective is, no, you don't. You just need to understand where your best clients are. You need to show up there and you need to post content consistently and connect with all your clients and COIs. Social media is simply a distribution channel for your content. So you need a content strategy. So to use it effectively and with sanity, your focus should be on creating high value content for your existing best clients, those top 10%. So what that looks like is it could be a written blog. It could be a podcast. It could be a YouTube series. It could be your webinar series. Whatever that is, you're creating high value, meaningful content in your zone of excellence. Maybe you've got outside guests coming in. And then you're going to use social media to distribute hyper compelling clips, quotes, and insights from that long form content. And by the way, you want to be sharing high value snippets and clips and quotes, but it's not like you want them to see it and then immediately click to your website. They might do that to read the whole version, but like think about your own content consumption habits. Typically, you want to get high value in that scroll, and then you're going to like it, or you're going to comment on it, or you're going to engage in it. Or if it's not compelling, you're just going to scroll past it, right? So the interaction is happening on the social media platform, and most of the platforms reward that. So if you're linking out to your blog or linking out to your website, you're going to get limited reach because you're taking people off the social media platform, and the social media platform doesn't like that. So their algorithm is designed to punish that post and it won't get much traction. The intent is for them to see these things, to see your content, to engage, to be hyper valuable, that they're like, oh my gosh, they're top of mind. I need to DM you, or I can click onto your full LinkedIn page and click on visit my website, right? So I guess why I'm saying that is like, you don't want your snippets to be clickbaity to your website. You want them to stand alone and provide high value. And the way to think about these social media channels is it's like email. So you know how you send out your content in email, but it's for people, which is all of us, with a shorter attention span, and you can interact back and forth. That's the difference. So you're doing a snippet. It's just like almost like a quick snippet of an email, but it's social media. And unlike email, which is like hard sometimes to interact back and forth, although you can, social media is like immediate engagement. Okay. So I think that you were probably expecting some like very tactical tips on how to rock social media. So I'm going to give you a checklist. This might be a shorter episode, but it's really about how to show up without burning out, how to show up beyond the trends, and why social media matters in a way that you can understand, apply to your business to drive growth. So organic growth, deeper engagement, and add value, which I know every financial advisor or advisory firm wants to do. And if you're doing it, you're going to see the result. You're going to see inbound DMs. You're going to see clients mentioning it. You're going to have COIs mentioning it, and you're going to have lead flow. So this is going to be your short tactical checklist on social media. And by the way, there's so many marketing experts that talk about social media. They get super deep. We could do that, but you've just got to get the fundamentals right. And I think the most fundamental is mindset. So here's the ways to rock it. 1, get clear on the platform your best clients are on. And how do you do that? Simply ask them, not offer, ask them. Okay. 2, create hyper-targeted content for them. And don't think about the social media platform. Think about how they consume content. Are they watching videos? Are they listening to podcasts? Are they writing blogs? Are they coming to your webinar? Whatever format they want to create hyper-compelling, targeted content for your top 10% of clients, and that one person who represents them. If you go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2, that person we're calling Bob for New School, season 3. Hello, Bobs of the world. Then the third thing is you can distribute clips of your high value content across your social media channels. And obviously you want to tailor the way that you do that based on the platform. But right now, every platform's rewarding video. So if you've got video, that's really valuable. It could be a quote. It could be an infographic, whatever it looks like, distribute. So think about social media as your distribution channels. You don't need your own strategy. Here's something super tactical. For every single time you post, I'd recommend at least 2 to 3 times a week. Okay. For every time you post, you want to comment on 3 other people's posts. And you want to comment in a way that's meaningful and authentic. And ideally, you're commenting on your clients' posts or your COI posts, right? And so something really engaging and thoughtful. If you interact like that, because social media is social, the algorithm is going to reward you. You're going to show up in front of more people, but more importantly, you'll show up in that clients or that COIs network, which is ideally more people like them, or in the case of COIs, people that they serve more like your prospects. Okay, so that's how you're showing up. You're going to respond to DMs. Okay, so if those clients are COIs or someone that you don't know, unless they're selling something that you're clearly not interested in, you're going to respond to DMs. Those are leads. I know that sounds kind of obvious, but I've worked with a lot of firms and advisors where it feels like, oh, someone DM'd me. That was great content, great post. And an advisor might just say, thank you, and then end the conversation. That's a lead, right? Or an opportunity for deeper engagement. You might say something more like, thank you so much. I also created this other episode that you might be interested on my podcast. Or thank you so much. What did you find interesting about that? It's meaningful for me to create high value content. So you're going to continue the conversation as if that person came to talk to you at an event or cocktail party, right? So you're not going straight to the sale. Don't be weird and salesy. We say that pretty consistently. Add with value and be authentic. So you might say, thank you so much. Here's some other content. Or if someone came to talk to you, I'd like to make an introduction. Be like, thank you. That's so much. I'd love to continue that conversation. Or if someone says, I was thinking about coming in. Great. That's wonderful. What's your email? I'll email you and we'll get some time set up. Those inbound DMs are leads, and that's how people are interacting. So if they're on a social media platform and they see you, they're going to DM you. They're going to message you. They're going to comment. So pay attention to that, right? social media is an incredible opportunity for you to have touch points with existing clients, to be trust building with potentially prospects, and to be in front of more people like your best clients or your COIs and their best clients. So this episode was all about beyond the trends, social media that actually works for your business, and supporting you in doing that in a way that is effective and keeps you sane. So to recap, social media is essential for prospect validation, client touchpoints, COI touchpoints. You should be on the platform where your best clients are. Social media is really a distribution channel. You shouldn't expect it to drive ROI and lead flow alone. It's part of your website, your client communications, your biz dev, all of those pieces that you're doing. And the sanest way to rock it is to create high value content for top 10% of your clients and then distribute it in the places where they're hanging out, which is the social media platforms that they're on. Okay, I hope this was helpful. It was pretty quick, but I think I shared with you the most meaningful things. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to DM me on LinkedIn. You can also email me. Check out ficompartners.com if you have any questions. And then this episode and this season is all about giving you a one-to-one consult on how to drive organic growth. If you want to find out how other firms are driving growth, you can check out the Growth Leaders of Wealth Management podcast hosted by our CEO, Meg Carpenter. Thanks for listening. I know you could be listening to any podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. See you in the next episode.